You know what? It is not on my list.
He won a stage of the Tour de France. How could you not have that on your list? What's wrong with you?
This is the harshest list I've ever heard.
Welcome to the Canadian Cycling Magazine podcast. I'm Matthew Pioro, and with me is the self-proclaimed glue of Canadian Cycling Magazine. Welcome, Matt Hansen.
Hello. I'm honored to be here again.
Also joining us, and it's been a while, but we welcome him back. It is the Vancouver Island Bureau Chief, aka the mountain bike editor of Canadian Cycling Magazine, Terry McKall. Hey, Terry, how's it going?
Good. Had the best cinnamon bun ever this morning, so I'm in a great mood.
It is coming up aces all around. In this episode, we are looking back at 2023, the year that was, and we are going to count down the top 5 stories of Canadian cycling on the sporting side. Now, this top 5 list is actually bigger than top 5 because all 3 of us, editors at Canadian Cycling Magazine, have picked our top 5s and have not revealed them to one another, and we are going to reveal them to each other and to you in a kind of balderdash, if you will, of top Canadian cycling stories of 2023, which we will get to in just a second. This episode of the Canadian Cycling Magazine podcast is supported by Canyon, particularly the new Canyon Lux Trail. Remember, this bike was just released about a month ago. Mountain bike editor Terry and I are working on getting him one to test, but you could get one before Terry. It's available now at canyon.com. The new Canyon Lux Trail is born from an unrelenting need to push our limits, redefining what can be done on an XC bike. Speed is at the heart of the Lux Trail, but Canyon wanted that speed to last all day long and give riders the confidence to push their limits on rough and demanding endurance trails. To make all-day speed a reality, Canyon completely redesigned the Lux Trail to make it an ultra-capable XC bike that's incredibly light, exceptionally fast, and cleverly equipped with all that riders need to claim KOMs on Strava and FKTs. And in possibly a new type of competition, you can beat reviewer Terry to a new Lux Trail by ordering it now on Canyon.com. "2023. Holy cow, what a year. And it was a challenge for me. I don't know about you guys, but it was a challenge for me to narrow down the top 5 sporting moments, the Canadian cycling sporting moments to just 5. But
there were so many midweeks, so many crits I did. I know, it's tough, but I think I got it down.
See, this is what I was afraid of, that Matt Hansen would have the top Matt Hansen moments of 2023.
He did. I delivered.
Okay. I'm afraid this has already gone off the rails. But what we're going to do is, as I said, we are going to guess each other's top 5s. So I would like to start with Terry, who I'm assuming, because he's our mountain bike editor, his top 5s skew a bit more mountain bikey. Do you have any guesses, Matt, for what's on Terry's list?
I really hope, but I don't know if he will. I hope that he has something to do with following Sam Cohen, the publisher at Grip Publishing, the parent company of Canadian Cycling Magazine, at the BC bike race, and just watching him suffer. I really hope so. I have a feeling he didn't, though.
That was a great part of the year, and I do have some video evidence of that. But that unfortunately did not make my list.
Which I'm not surprised because Terry probably followed instructions, Matt Hansen. One of the things I'm guessing that's on Terry's list is Carter Woods and his double wins at Val du Soleil. That's in the U23, and he won in the short track and in the cross country.
That was one of my guesses too, actually.
I'm sure it was.
It was. I've got it right here.
My other guess for Terry's list is Bodie Kuhn. Now, this junior DH rider also did very well at Val du Soleil with a win at the World Cup. And he had a heartbreaker of a second place at the World Championships. Terry, are my two guesses, in fact, correct?
Yeah. So far, you and Hansen both had Carter Woods. The double weekend in Val du Sol is amazing. And he had another win at Snowshoe. He's moving on to the elite category next year, which is going to be really exciting to watch with how well he rode this year. And bonus points for his gutsy ride back through the World Champs field after dropping a chain right on the start.
That was a heartbreaker. It was such a bummer. But you're right. It was a gutsy ride that he put in at Worlds. What about my Bodie Kuhn guess? Is he on your list?
Yeah, Bodie Kuhn's also on the list. He had an amazing year, but he gets on the list alongside Finn Isles and Jackson Goldstone because this is the first time that 3 Canadians have held the World Cup leaders jersey in 1 year. Isles and Goldstone trading off, and then Bodie Kuhn holding the junior men's for a while. Neither of them ended up winning it this year. But it was amazing to see so many Canadians consistently at the top of the field.
So that's like a combo entry with the 3 of them in one? Is that how you've packaged that?
Yeah, that's how I'm squeezing them all in.
I like it.
Okay, so I'm trying to guess then. I'm going to guess something outside maybe mountain bike with Terry. Let's see. What about Michael Woods' win at stage win at the Tour de France?
Oh, no, that's in your guys' list.
All right. Okay. Maybe this is now turning into 20 questions. Do you have any road moments in your list?
No. Mountain biking was too good this year.
Oh, mountain biking was too good this year. Okay, I'm gonna go through my. See, I was gonna guess the Finn Isles and Goldstone leading the World Cup rankings, but you've combined that. You know what? I may be stumped. Okay, Terry, we got 2 of your list. Why don't you fill it out for us?
Sure. How about Isabella Holmgren and Maren Lowe going 1-2 at Junior Worlds with in third place?
How could we not mention that?
The Men's World Championships. That was amazing. That was 3 hours of amazingness for Canadian mountain biking in Glentress.
I forgot because she just wins too many races. It's not fair. She just wins all the time. And same with Ashford.
Yeah. Well, I'm counting on you taking some of their other wins on your guys' list. And another big winning moment was Gunnar Holmgren and Jen Jackson winning Pan Ams. Both golds. That was great. That capped off a great year for Gunnar this on flirt with the elite top 10 in Andorra and again in Leger. Yeah, that was great. And then, of course, the big one is just Jackson Goldstone's season. Mont-Saint-Anne was the highlight. This was an entirely unreasonable season for his first year in elite. He had his first win at Val di Sole. He was battling injury all year, having a couple surgeries mid-season. He held the leader's jersey at one point, and he finished super high up in the standings. He's kind of been a name now for so long that it's easy to forget that he's only 18, and this was his first year in elite. Everyone was blown away when Jordan Williams, another first-year elite, won the first World Cup. But Goldstone kept that going all year, all the way to that amazing hometown win at Mont-Saint-Anne. The other one was Emmy Land repeating her EWS now in an Enduro World Cup overall title in the under-21 women's. Reese Werner and Jessie Melamed also won a couple rounds this year, but Land was basically unstoppable. She won almost every round.
That is a solid list, Terry. And I would say in my defense about forgetting Isabella Holmgren, I did not. But however, I did approach her inclusion in my list from the curly bar bike side. I've already revealed then one of the ones on my list. And Terry, who's much more, let's say, democratic than I am, did not rank his, like from number 5 to number 1. I did. And I actually put Isabella Holmgren at number 2. And the sort of headline I have in my notes is Isabella Holmgren wins 4 champions jerseys. And I guess I would have focused on the win at Cyclocross Worlds because it was such a surprise. I was actually thinking Lauren Molengraaf of the Netherlands was going to win that, the junior women's race. But so I was honestly surprised. I remember, and Matt, I'm sure you remember, it was a very early morning in February and dark, and we were both up and watching this race at our respective places. And it was something to see Isabella Holmgren come over the line. The emotions just were huge.
With her sister crossing the line right after. That was phenomenal.
Exactly.
I remember furiously texting you, saying, oh my God. We were just saying, oh my God, just like teenagers going backwards and forth. I remember also having to speak French for the first time in a radio interview, and that was probably the most harrowing thing. But it was a special occasion that Radio Canada wanted to talk about cyclocross, so I was like, I better do it.
That's true. Yeah. So that is my how I included Isabella Holmgren in my list. But of course, there is, as Terry mentioned, the Junior Cross Country World Championship win. And more recently, we have the Pan Am Elite Cyclocross Championship win and the Canadian Under-23 Cyclocross National Championship win. All right, guys, I'm kicking it over to you. Guess another one on my list. Let's go. Guess.
I was thinking that maybe, I don't know what it had to do with, but I wonder if since you went to the GPs in Montreal and Quebec, it's something to do with that as a highlight. I mean, that might be more for you, but just the experience of being at those 2 big races again, or for the first time in a long time.
For the first time in, a very long time, I returned to those races. It's a good guess, but no, there's nothing I would say. While that was a great event and I enjoyed it immensely and it was top racing, I didn't put or take anything from there into my top 5 list. Okay, go.
Okay, what about Maggie Lee winning the US CX series?
Nope.
Really? She swept 8 weekends. That's like where she swept 4 weekends. That's 8 races. Yeah, there was like Sydney McGill and like 19-year-old Denai Francis that were either on the podium or top 5 that whole time.
But what's impressive too about the cyclocross is that, you can be the strongest, but something always happens, right? She could have flatted or crashed, but she didn't. That's what's even more impressive, that you can win those races. It's not just about, always being the strongest, but having good luck.
Mm-hmm. And don't forget, Raphael Carrier was won, I think, everything except for one race in the junior women's category, but still not on my list of top 5.
There's a little race in France, maybe in the spring with some cobbles.
Oh, yeah. Now we're getting somewhere. Yes. Allison Jackson winning Paris-Roubaix. That is number 3 on my list. It's huge. We have a Canadian winning a monument. Up until then, there was Steve Bauer and his second place at Roubaix. But now we have Allison Jackson, who's got a rock. And that part stuck with me it was one of the post-race interviews. Yes, there was the dance, which we all love. But what she said, and I quote, "I grew up on a farm in rural Alberta, and one of my jobs as a kid was to go into the field and pick rocks by hand and put them in the truck. And lo and behold, I'm picking another rock and taking it home." So I thought that was, she's a good dancer, a good bike racer, and a good talker. And then she did say she was going to try to teach the rock some dance moves. So that was a spectacular win, and I think a huge moment in Canadian cycling.
I mean, I have a feeling that our lists can be strikingly similar, but I did try and make some differences. But another race in France that happened a few months later probably might have a soft spot for that. No rocks, just some wood.
Do not speak euphemistically, Matt Hansen. Tell me what you're thinking exactly.
Well, I'll jump in because that's one of my guesses too. Mike Witt's winning that stage of the Tour de France.
You know what? It is not on my list.
He won a stage of the Tour de France. How could you not have that on your list? What's wrong with you?
This is the harshest list I've ever heard.
I could only pick 5. I will reveal maybe later how a Tour de France stage win did not make the cut. Anyway.
Sorry, Woodsy. Your win doesn't count for anything.
No, that
Try
is
better
not.
next year. Maybe win 2.
That is not the case.
That's what I'm hearing right now.
No, well then you are
not win by
misunderstanding.
enough. You're right. Only won it by less than a minute. He should have won by 10 minutes.
I'm assuming this win is on your the Michael Woods' Tour de France stage win is on your list, Matt.
I think what's neat about it was that when he entered the final 4K there in the Puy de Dôme, it was, first of all, it was so wild because he went from this noisy, raucous, spectators everywhere, and then just silence. And it's just it looked like it was some local race, right? Riding up all by himself. And of course, you're kind of thinking, well, he's going to get a solid second. Good for him. That's pretty good. Would have been nice to get the win. But you know what? Second ain't bad. And then he's like, it's getting closer. But, it's still a long way to go. And then all of a sudden, kaboom, he just goes by Matteo Jorgensen like he's standing still. And so I think that was kind of neat that way.
I have to agree. That was a spectacular stage to watch. At 4 kilometers to go, I was kind of packing up my bags and ready. It was either Saturday or Sunday. I think it was a Sunday. And I was like, yeah, that's too bad. It was a really good show. And then as I'm packing up, getting ready to go on my day, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. And again, this is a case of everyone at Canadian Cycling Magazine just on the chat losing their minds going, what? Is he going to do it? Is he going to do it?
Especially when it got so steep, right? Because, a 500 meters or something or even 1,000 meters when you're going 15K an hour you've got plenty of time to pass someone. So, yeah, it was pretty neat.
Okay, so that's on your list, Matt. I'm going to make a guess. For something on yours. Luke Valenti winning Tour de Beauce overall.
Oh, you're a jerk. How'd you know that? Are you logged into my computer?
I do not have the means to hack your computer.
Yeah, I thought that was special because, he's the youngest guy to ever win Beauce. Beauce is super hard when you're the first-year senior, and it's hard when you're a 10th-year senior too. But it was just, to see this guy who's, I think going to go on to great things, take, the biggest stage race in Canada now it was cool to watch. And like I said, I know his uncle, so it was sort of a kind of a neat thing to see a last name I know win a big race like that. But like I said, this kid's going places.
Yeah, and
be a star. It's going to be a star.
And Terry saw him recently racing cyclocross nationals. He can do okay on the mud. Wouldn't you say, Terry?
He had a great ball all over USCXM this weekend, battling for the wins both days. It was fun.
There you go. Yeah, he's got an engine, that guy. So it'll be exciting to see, what the future holds for him.
So for my next guess, I'm going to make this conversation take a left turn and say Dylan Bibick's Champions League win.
Yes. Okay, I picked that one. Yeah, I picked that one. This game sucks. Who made this game up?
I did, but I think it's interesting that we could pick off your list pretty easily there.
Yeah, I'm predictable. That's I like to be predictable.
So, okay, then point for Terry. And Hansen, tell us more about that Champions League win there.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember when he secured it, but he took quite it. He took the elimination in the first round. He won the scratch in the second round, and then he took the overall lead, I think, in the round 3. So the final round of it, he didn't do as well. I think he took 6th and 11th in the scratch and the elimination, but it was enough to take the whole series. And he didn't have the rainbow jerseys this year like he did last year. I think he got second, but that's also pretty good. But it was cool to see him take that series, and he had some pretty good. I can't remember some of the quotes he said, but some of them are pretty great. He's definitely quotable at times.
He can be a very straight shooter, and he puts a lot of pressure on himself. He was saying in one interview he vowed he would quit if he didn't win, and he likes to. I think he likes to put the pressure on, or doesn't like, but he finds pressure useful. And it's funny, he got second in the elimination at the World Championships, and for him, that he's also a former world champion in the scratch. for him, that wasn't enough. He wanted more, and he came in with big expectations at the Track Champions League. And round 3, where he won both the scratch and the elimination race, that was huge. And then, then he was able to defend the overall going into the end. What's interesting is round 3 was at the Velodrome in France, and that's where the Olympics will be held, as we all know, in 2024. So I think that gives him a lot of confidence that, that Velodrome might be good luck, because that's also where he won the Scratch World title.
Go left. Always go left.
Turn left. So I think we've picked off all of Hansen's.
Yeah, you did. So can I go?
No. I have to admit, Bibic was on my long list, but did not make my final list. So far we have what you guys have gleaned from my list is, as we said, Isabella Holmgren, Alison Jackson. There's still 3 others. One of them overlaps with Terry's. It's Jackson Goldstone's win at Mont Saint Anne. I decided to focus on that one for many of the reasons that Terry outlined, that Jackson Goldstone had a very good season, but also huge challenges. There was appendix issues in the summer, and at the end of the season, get that win at Mont Saint Anne. And, I kind of went back to the theme, Canadian cycling. So in Canada, that was pretty big. And, it follows Finn Iles' win there from last year. So that's on my list. And that...
No, nothing about any of our rides? We wanted some good rides, you and me.
Okay,
I thought we might make the
not
list.
National news.
Well, we could make it national news if we announce it here.
Okay. Well, now that I know that mountain biking is open season in your list, I'm going to say the Jewett brothers winning Elite and Junior on 1199 at Crankworks. That was the new Canadian Open downhill track named after Stevie Smith, and having Canadians win, Mark Wallace second and Miranda Miller third. That was an amazing moment. The best way to open this track named after Stevie.
That is a very good entry. However, it is not on my list.
It should be.
It should be. Well, there's a lot that should be on my list, but I was ruthless. There's still 2 outstanding. I'll give you a hint on one of them. It does involve turning left.
Does it also involve turning right?
No right-hand turns were made. I will tell you, it is Mel Pemble defending her World Championship Omnium title, and that's in the C3 category. So as everyone remembers, the Super World Championships in August also had paracycling, and that was track and road. And Mel Pemble was coming back after winning the Omnium in 2022, and the Omnium was kind of a nail-biter. Pemble had to win in a very specific way in the final scratch race. She had to be the top rider in the Omnium, but still finish ahead of her nearest competitor. That was Dutch rider Aniek van den Arsen. And this was a really big win for Mel Pemble. She said to me in an interview I did for a short story in the magazine that she kind of had imposter syndrome because she won in her first time going to Worlds in 2022. And this was kind of a big deal to be able to defend it in 2023.
Yeah, that was amazing. This is why I don't necessarily love the Super World format. Because that was
exhausting.
Such a busy week that I watched the mountain bike events. I caught highlights of the road racing afterwards, but I missed so much that happened during that week.
There's just too many races. No, it was. I mean, it's just oh, great. And then now that Canada's getting all they're doing, it's oh, we got to write some more. This guy won that. This gal won that. It's just, can we have a break,
Okay, so to sum up, Terry is not exactly happy about Super Worlds because there's so much racing that he misses things. And Matt doesn't like Super Worlds because it is too much work for him.
Yes. Well, it's not my fault. I mean, if they win, I got to write about it. Just let's just finish 70th or something. Make it easier for me. Team Canada, stop being so good.
It is interesting. Like, I don't really sympathize with Matt, but Terry has a point.
Story of my life.
And what is interesting is that Mel Pemble actually said she enjoyed the format and she liked how, on the track at least, that spectators would see able-bodied and para-athletes at races that alternate. So it was a great format in getting exposure to all these various disciplines of cycling.
And they should keep doing that at track worlds every year. But having like track and mountain bike and trials and like indoor cycling and all the other things happening at the same time, it didn't really give you a chance to see any of the other disciplines unless you were there in person, which probably would have been a great time.
No, I bet you it would have actually been difficult to get from venue to venue, right? Say I wanted to go watch my favorite cycling event, artistic cycling. How would I get there? If I was over at the mountain bike course. I love my artistic cycling.
Yes.
As facetious as you are, Matt, you're not wrong. We actually know we're in contact with some people who were at Worlds, and they had a heck of a time getting around and missed some events that they were hoping to get to. So yeah, it can be a logistical challenge. All right. There is one remaining entry in my top 5.
Was it when I dropped you on one of those training rides, maybe? No, oh, right. We're not doing us. Forgot.
I want you to go back to May.
Okay. We went riding. I'll check my Strava. Okay.
There is a race in Italy.
Yep, there is.
It goes for 21 stages.
Oh, gee. What could it be? What could it be? Oh, gee. I do not know. OMG, I have no idea.
Gee whiz.
Those were terrible puns. Those were terrible days for puns, weren't they? Just awful. No, those aren't even puns. They were just awful, awful titles.
So this is actually my number 1 entry. And I know you guys could probably take issue with it because Derek G did not win a stage at the Giro d'Italia.
That is the most Canadian list, and number 2 as your number 1.
Exactly. You get it now.
I don't think that's Canadian cycling anymore. Look at the list of people we have winning races and world championships on like both of our top 10s. That like Canada is number 2 is so 10 years ago.
I really liked every day texting Pioro when I would be like, oh, Christ, he's in the break again. Every time I'm like, oh, come on, not again.
That's the theme. Too much work for Hansen. But why this story is my number 1? It's like, what could be more Canadian than perseverance? Dogged perseverance.
What could be more Canadian is dogged perseverance that ends on the top of the podium.
I respect your disagreeing with me, and that's completely, I'm cool with that, but I still stick with this because it was also a surprise, consistently a surprise to see Derek G in breakaways, and to mirror Matt's sort of feelings about it. The, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing it again. It was just a delight to watch. It was not, to Terry's point, like the fist pump of victory, but it was just a consistent, this is great to watch. This is great to see.
He's right,
It was amazing to watch. It was awesome.
So that's why it is my number 1 top story in Canadian cycling. And just to recap, in case anyone forgot, by the time Derek G rolled into Rome at the end of the Giro d'Italia, he
attacked there too, by the way.
He was second in the sprinter jersey competition. He was second in the KOM competition. He was second in the intermediate sprint competition and second in the competition for the most kilometers in breakaways. But as he clarified on an episode of this podcast earlier in the year, that breakaway number was calculated for groups less than 10. If you look at groups with 10 or more, you would find that he actually had the most kilometers in breakaways at the Giro d'Italia.
And he also finished 22nd.
Yes.
2-2.
Oh, yeah. And of course, there was second 4 times on stages. And 4 is, of course, 2 times 2.
Whoa, numerology stuff. This is wild.
Whoa.
Dude.
All right. I think these are all solid lists all around.
Yep. Yes, they were. Yep. This was a lot of fun.
Now, I was worried, Hansen, that we were going to hear about your top 5
What are your top 5 moments from 2023?
I can't believe you asked that.
I really liked it when I went riding with Pioro and he had an e-bike and that's what he needed to use to drop me. That was pretty funny. He did eventually. Motor doping. It's real.
I was in eco mode because I thought that was some semblance of fairness if I was going to drop you on a climb with an e-bike.
Eco mode when you turn it off, or is the motor still helping you then?
It was on the first level of assist out of 3.
So when we went up a really steep hill, I was, that's when you used it. That's fine. It was hard for you to do it, but you did eventually.
I did try to drop you the old-fashioned way on that bike with it completely off, and that did not work.
But we did have some good rides this summer for sure.
Somehow we need to get Terry out here and he can drop us both on an analog bike.
Yeah, and he can be amazed at how less hilly it is here than out west. What we call hills, he's going to say, this is not a hill. This is an on-ramp. This is an on-ramp, When I was a kid, I did a stage race in Holland. And
oh, no. When I was a kid.
No, I'm not kidding. The finishing climb, they put on an on-ramp like to a road. It was like fifth because there's no hills. So that was a finishing climb. I couldn't believe it. It was the funniest thing ever.
I know it's time to wrap up the podcast when Hansen is reflecting on races as a kid. All right. That is 2023 as we saw it here at Canadian Cycling Magazine. And that's the episode. It is edited by me, Matthew Pioro. I had help from Matt Hansen. Thank you, Matt.
Yep. Yes, you did. You're welcome.
And Terry McKall, who I'm so glad we had on the podcast in a rare appearance. Thank you, Terry.
Yay. Cinnamon bun's wearing off. I need another snack.
He's coming down, folks. He's coming down.
Get this man some sugar and some coffee. Thanks also to Ontario Creates for its support. This episode of the Canadian Cycling Magazine podcast is produced by Adam Killick. You know what? Matt, I bet you Terry doesn't know what else Adam does for the podcast. You should tell Terry.
He does the music.
As if you're whispering an answer during a test to Terry. Yes, Adam Killick does the music for this podcast. Thank you, Adam. All right. That was a pretty amazing 2023. It created a lot of work, maybe too much work for Matt Hansen.
Please, can everyone just stop doing well? Let's just go back to not finishing and 80ths. It's just a lot.
And Terry was busy too, covering all the successes of Canucks at home and abroad. Thank you guys. Thank you for your work here on the podcast, on the website, what you do in the magazine as well. Thank you, listeners, for listening. It was a good year, but we still have more podcasts coming to you before 2024, so be sure to tune in and ride safely, everyone, and we'll talk to you later.